We lead off tonight with an exclusive report from our investigative Unit 4 about something which concerns each and every one of us. The subject, gasoline prices and how they got where they are today. Was it simply an innocent case of supply and demand in a free marketplace, or perhaps a villainous conspiracy by the oil companies themselves?
We all know the world runs on oil. Without it, post-industrial modern life comes to a screeching halt. Now imagine a cartel of 7 companies in just the US and the UK controlling every single drop on Earth. This is the story of how the 7 sisters came to control the global oil market. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and get ready to delve into the captivating world of oil, politics, and power. Our story begins in the early 20th century, a time when the world was undergoing significant industrialization and the demand for oil was skyrocketing. Back then, several oil-rich regions were the center of attention, particularly the Middle East, where vast reserves of black gold lay untapped beneath the desert sands. This precious resource quickly became more than just an energy source. It began to possess tremendous geopolitical significance as well. The major powers of the time recognized the strategic importance of controlling oil reserves to fuel their growing industries and secure their dominance on the global stage. In this race for control, 7 major oil companies emerged as the frontrunners. These companies, commonly referred to as the 7 Sisters, were made up of Standard Oil of New York and New Jersey, Exxon, Standard Oil of California, Chevron, Circone Vacuum Oil Company, Mobil, the Texas Company, Texaco, Gulf Oil Company, Anglo-Persian Oil Company, British Petroleum, and Dutch Royal Shell. Together, they formed a formidable alliance, dominating the global oil market for decades. But how did these 7 giants of the oil industry achieve such extraordinary power? Well, it all began with their pursuit of strategic partnerships and aggressive expansion. During the early 20th century, these companies embarked on a wave of acquisitions, mergers, and joint ventures to solidify their positions in the global oil industry. While the 7 Sisters originated as American and British companies, they quickly expanded their reach globally. They established oil fields, refineries, and distribution networks in various parts of the world, giving them unparalleled control and influence over the oil market. One critical factor that played into the hands of the 7 Sisters was the discovery of enormous oil reserves in the Middle East. As they secured exclusive rights to exploit these reserves, their dominance over the global oil market became even more pronounced. However, their control wasn't solely based on access to reserves. The 7 Sisters were also adept at manipulating global politics to serve their interests. By forming alliances and using their significant financial power, they could exert influence over governments and shape policies that favored their operations. Moreover, these companies mastered the art of vertical integration. They not only controlled the production and refining processes, but also had a strong grip on distribution and marketing channels. They owned everything from the oil fields to the gas stations. This vertical integration allowed them to establish a monopolistic hold on the entire oil supply chain, effectively squeezing out potential competitors. To maintain their dominance, the 7 Sisters also engaged in price fixing, collusion, and market manipulation.
Well, Unit 4 has uncovered previously confidential documents which shed brand new light on the conspiracy angle and which might even result in billions of dollars being refunded to motorists here in the state of California. All of this part of an antitrust suit filed by the California Attorney General in U.S. District Court 5 years ago, charging a massive conspiracy involving 7 major oil companies here on the West Coast.
The gas wars were replaced by the gas lines of 1974, brought about out, it appeared, by the Arab oil embargo. What most of us didn't realize is that the prices began to soar well before the boycott. Since August of 1972, they've gone up, and they've never come down. The Attorney General claims that's due to illegal conspiracy.
The conclusion we draw is pretty clearly that it's the companies that are controlling the prices that the dealers charge all over the West Coast, and they do it out of their regional office on the West Coast, wherever that may be, and the word gets put out to their people, and the dealers toe the line and do what they're told.
The top of the sawtooth was what some oil companies called the normal price of gasoline, and they tried to keep it there as long as they could. But that wasn't very long because there was so much gasoline being refined. The major oil companies had no choice but to wholesale the excess to independent marketers. The independents would then lower the retail price and try to make money with volume. The majors would respond by cutting the wholesale price of gas to their own stations so they could drop retail prices too and stay in competition. After a while, the majors would withdraw the supports to their stations, which had no choice then but to raise pump prices all the way back to that so-called normal level. It took 6 weeks for the prices to go down, but just 1 week to go back up. Then the whole process would begin again and repeat itself in another 6 weeks. Democrat Stanley Mosk called that sawtooth curve concrete evidence of healthy competition when he was Attorney General back in the early 60s. But in the years that followed, Mosk's two Republican successors saw something different. First, Ebel Younger and now George Deukmejian have accused the oil companies of illegally conspiring to keep prices at that so-called normal level. Here are some charts of that same sawtooth pattern that have been introduced in court. This one compares prices charged by the majors and the independents in Los Angeles, the biggest gasoline market in the world. With a difference of something like 2 cents a gallon, the charts are exactly the same, with prices rising and falling together week after week. These charts compare the major oil companies one with another in this same market, Los Angeles. Here's Gulf, Union, Standard, and Texaco. Here's Shell and Phillips and Mobil. Now Enco, Exxon, Chevron, and Arco. Once again, the pattern is almost identical from company to company. The same thing holds city to city. The LA pattern for all the companies is the same as that in Seattle. And San Francisco matches too.
The company is watching these prices, watching them very carefully, and they come to a conclusion. Let's test these markets. And the company will test all markets at the same time by withdrawing dealer assistance in all markets at the same time.
Now, why would all companies do it in all markets at the same time?
Now, other companies, this is pure conjecture.
By coordinating production levels and implementing their own pricing strategies, they could influence oil prices and maximize their profits. Through their maneuvering, they would force oil-producing nations to sign contracts that fix the purchasing price and production rate for months or years. This often caused the oil-producing nations to lose out on the profits they could have made from future market price increases. This tight grip over pricing gave them immense control over the global oil market, making it difficult for other players to enter the arena. However, their grip on power would not go unchallenged forever. As the world began to change, new political landscapes emerged and challenges to their hegemony started to mount. In the 1970s, OPEC, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, rose to prominence, challenging the dominance of the Seven Sisters. OPEC, primarily consisting of the major oil-producing nations in the Middle East, sought to control the pricing and production rates of their oil rather than have the Seven Sisters dictate terms. Through coordinated action, OPEC countries collectively increased oil prices, leading to a significant shift in the balance of power within the global oil market. This upheaval marked a turning point in the global oil industry. With OPEC countries holding substantial reserves and gaining more control over their production levels, the influence of the Seven Sisters was significantly weakened. The monopoly they enjoyed for decades began to crumble, and new players, including national oil companies from OPEC countries, emerged on the scene. OPEC, now no longer beholden to selling to the Seven Sisters, started to make deals with oil trading companies like Mark Rich and Company, led by Mark Rich aka the King of Oil, and Transworld Oil, led by Johannes Christian Martinus Augustinus Maria John Deus. We'll discuss these characters further in some of our later videos. This new way of selling oil gave rise to the spot oil trading market, where oil could be bought and sold on the spot rather than via futures contracts as it had been during the era of the Seven Sisters' dominance. This new market globally democratized access to various parts of the oil business. With an open market and the major oil-producing nations now banding together and calling their own shots, the Seven Sisters, though still powerful, could no longer maintain their oligopoly over black gold. The rise and fall of the Seven Sisters of Oil is a captivating tale of power, politics, and corporate dominance. These 7 companies, through strategic partnerships, global expansion, and control over the entire oil supply chain, managed to establish an unprecedented monopoly in the global oil market. However, the emergence of OPEC and shifting geopolitical dynamics eventually challenged their hegemony, leading to a more diversified and balanced global oil industry. If you found this exploration of the Seven Sisters of Oil intriguing and informative, please like and subscribe. If you'd like us to deep dive into any of the topics discussed, please let us know in the comments section. As always, thank you for joining us on this journey, and stay tuned for more captivating videos in the future.